And here we are. So, as threatened in one of our last videos, I wanted to come back and talk about Solo again, and it's actually becoming a more interesting and relevant topic this week. I don't know if you caught any of the buzz, but there's a lot of talk that it's basically failing as a movie.
Yeah. I've kind of been glancing at various social media stuff, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like, um, boy, it's a major buzzword and
Well, the
major thing of like
yeah.
um, that first Thursday,
Hmm.
we saw the movie,
Hmm.
and the Friday that followed. Like just looking at various other people that were posting,
Yeah.
were just basically posting like their thoughts from Thursday,
Mm.
seeing the movie, and then by the weekend, that first weekend, it just exploded where it's like, okay, here was like us, here was like the nostalgia critic, here
Hmm.
was James Ralph, the guy that plays the angry video game nerd. Here was all these various individuals, talking about their first, chance of seeing it on Thursday.
Positive or
And
negative?
a lot of them that I noticed was almost kind of similar to what I said of
Yeah.
like, Lucas and Disney do do not Han Solo, uh, do Lando Calrissian. It
Well,
was like the brother of the nostalgia critic
yeah.
was. It was almost like listening to myself speak.
Yeah.
It was like almost the
Well,
same things I was saying.
well. The thing is
And
that for me, most of the reviews that I've seen have been very positive, right? But see, what when I'm looking at it, well, also by the way, there was some new news today is that the head of Lucasfilm may be stepping down as a result of this. Like they're claiming it's not connected, but there's a huge rumor that there's a shakeup because of this movie, and it's interesting because
Okay. So, like, one of the things is
I
really interesting about this is it doesn't feel like it got the advertisement budget. So, I wonder if like that was a
well,
factor. And
there's a whole bunch of things because like right now what I'm looking at is currently as of and this doesn't include the fact that it's going to be a whole nother cycle of views. Tomorrow's going to start tomorrow, right? Of people going back to the theater for the weekend, but like right now the budget is 250 million, right? And it's made 271.3 as of today, Wednesday, which is made its money back. It's breaking even, but they're still losing money because of the advertising budget. And I've seen a prediction that they're expecting to lose 50 million.
Well, and that's
The
kind of horse crap because it's like, you know,
it's going to
these
make
movies.
merchandise
Yeah, it's like
money, yeah,
merchandise,
and
and it's
DVD
like,
sales. I mean,
and that's
I'm
always a
buying it.
factor. It's like that
Yeah,
doesn't come into the equation of like. Um, Good lord, you take a look at like Cartoon Network. It's like a lot of the shows that actually um that really just run, or it's just like it's merchandise. It's
yeah,
like too bad Toys R Us is closing
yeah.
pretty nationwide, but it's like you take a look at like some of these things where it's um like Young Justice,
Hmm.
you know
Oh, the
it,
action figure sales on that show is probably going to be more than enough to pay for it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, well, initially when it was done, like Young Justice, it was a brilliant show. It was
Hmm.
well written. It had great action, great art,
Hmm.
and it was just like, wow, that was like one of my favorite DC properties,
Yeah.
and it just. It bombed on the regards of like the extra marketing, and then you take a look
Well,
at like say
I
Teen Titans Go, and there's tons of products.
well, the thing with Young Justice is I looked up this actually because I wanted to. There's all this hype with the new season. I'm like, okay, let's find out what's going on. The main issue is it didn't translate into the action figure sales, and the action figure company was who was funding it, and so they didn't make a profit. But getting back to Solo, the thing with it is like, you know, so the movie had we had Deadpool, right?
Hmm.
And Infinity War were coming out exactly the same time, and so Infinity War released like a week early to give it more breathing room against Deadpool, which, as it turned out, good move because Deadpool actually made more, like actually beat their opening weekend record. It doesn't have the longevity as it's turning out because I think Infinity War may actually have hit the 2 billion now. I'll check that in a second. Actually, I forgot to look that up. But like Solo, okay, so we had Deadpool. 2 weeks later, we had Infinity War. 2 weeks later, we had Deadpool, and then the next weekend we had Solo.
Right, because the 25th was Solo.
Yeah, it was one week after Deadpool.
Oh,
Solo.
okay.
It's like, why would you think the movie is going to have your block? People have spent their money. Okay, it's 2 weeks for paychecks occur every 2 weeks. Okay,
in a lot of industries, yeah.
Right, and so people only have so much discretionary spending, and then you go out and, okay, well, we're going to see this blockbuster movie. Okay, we're going to see Solo, or we're going to see Deadpool.
And after all, Deadpool is F for family,
right? And there was and as you have pointed out earlier, there was like no marketing for Solo until about 2 months or so before, because the movie was kind of a mess. And then
I remember more about like Denny's commercials, and I mean, it's like, I don't watch a lot of television, and I'm not much for like ads and whatnot, but it's like, I really remember hitting on home of like seeing, like Denny's advertising, about like the upcoming Solo movie, more than like going into other various movies and like seeing like an actual Solo trailer.
Well, the thing is this movie I think it was set up to fail, because it should have had a budget about $100 million less, right? And I think the entire thing, like, this is probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made, in my opinion. It's easily as good as Rogue One. I had a wonderful time watching this film, and everybody that I've personally talked to has just raved about it. Luke couldn't get it. Like, he was just had the same
a friend
response.
of ours.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
No, if you're watching
Luke Skywalker.
Well, the thing is like, you're gonna get to know him pretty soon when we start releasing RPG videos. But oh shoot, table. So I thought I was putting my foot on the chair. So, but like, Luke came out of the movie and he was just raving about it the same as I was, right? So I think what it is I think we have this movie which is going to find its audience down the road. I think it's going to make its money in DVD sales, and like people are going to catch it on DVD. They're going to catch it on Blu-ray. They're going to catch it digital download. Or on Netflix, right? I think it's going to be fine when they don't have to pay the movie fees. I think it's going to be profitable in the long run. People are going to discover this movie. But right now, there's just like, okay, it was either that or Deadpool.
So I actually have to say, it's like, I definitely do agree. I mean, there is that level of, that budget and whatnot. And it's like, come to think of it, so I actually watched Deadpool 2 twice.
Yeah, you mentioned that just a couple days ago, right?
Yeah. So one of my friends just recently lost his mother, and to basically just kind of hang out and whatnot, we decided to go see a movie, and it was kind of one of those things of like, oh, okay, what are we going to agree on, and like, whatever. And in the Federal area, which is in Washington State, Seattle, not D.C.
Where we are.
Yeah, where we are.
Yeah.
There's a cheaper theater where it's like $6. And I was actually surprised that like Deadpool was in that theater already.
Well, it's interesting that used like just 6 months ago was a $2 theater.
Right, but I mean, it's like, what... $6 still for the fact of like,
right?
Opposed to going to say like a place in Washington State known as Issaquah, where it's like $16 just to watch a movie. And it's kind of like, okay, I can hang out with a friend. Yeah, I've already watched this movie and I enjoyed it, watching it the second time.
I would imagine Solo's going to clean up at the second run theaters.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's going to be... I would actually guess like there's probably going to be people that are going to give it the chance, because it's like, oh, okay, it's getting some of this bad press. Maybe that's the reason why people aren't watching it, and that's the reason to go see it for yourself and make your own opinion.
How was the movie on the second watch?
For Deadpool 2? I loved it. I mean, it's like I already knew some of the jokes, and it was still like... I still feel like that's the type of humor that I like. Is that meta humor.
Well, I'm looking at the budget right now and the box office take, because I had been predicting it would hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
it seems to be slowing down. It's been in the 600 million range for the last week, but it hit
Yeah,
604.2 off of a 110 million budget.
and
That's
this is week what for them?
I think
Third or
I think it's the fourth week now,
fourth week,
or it's coming up on
but
the fourth week. But like that's
or
a hell of a
just
profit.
a month.
You cannot
Yeah,
complain about that.
I mean, for the fact of this movie being out for a month, you know that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, can you check Infinity War?
Yeah, I was about to do that actually.
Because
So,
that should be about 2 months now.
yeah, I think so.
So it's like I kind of curious to see like what the progression of, you know, Deadpool being out for a month, and then let's see what happens with Infinity
Yeah.
War.
So Infinity
being,
War is tracking right now is $1.969 billion.
Wow. And when
off
was
of
when did it release?
Just about a month ago. It's a three.
You mean almost 2 months ago?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let's see.
April, right?
Um,
Scroll up.
Does it say what the release date
Yeah,
was?
you just
Did,
passed
wait,
it.
Did I? Oh, I had it right in front of me. Oh yeah, April 23rd. So it's June now. So it's about a month.
Right.
It's yeah. It's just about a month, a little over a month. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is it's going to hit 2 billion. Even if it does, even if it stops there, the studio will be really thrilled.
Yeah.
So but off of a budget estimated of 316 to 400 million. So
Well, and it's like the question comes up is like how much more of the international market is going to like
I don't know.
places are going to hit.
I mean, it's still in theaters. It's got to.
Well, the big question comes up is like how long is it going to be running in theaters? I mean,
don't
it's
know.
like I've seen movies go for several months.
Well,
you know, and-
I've actually wondering if the second run counts because like the Black Panther was still in theaters in some places when Infinity War opened, and it just shifted over to the next week. It went to second run, right?
Right, like the same place that I saw Deadpool 2 was the same place that I. No, that was
By the way, I have
another
to
station.
step off camera because I just sneezed right before we started filming,
Ah,
and
and not to be super gross, he's gonna.
I try not to be, but my head goes crazy when I
Uh,
sneeze. So
you know, I mean, it's like that's something that you should definitely do. It would be meme worthy.
yeah,
You know, next to getting carjacked
if-
last.
right. Well, yeah, I kind of did get sort of.
Well, you got jacked up.
Well, we're not going to discuss that. My adventure over the last few days.
Yeah.
Anyways, which was resulting in a replacement car.
Right.
Okay. So, So Avengers: Infinity War is definitely successful. I want to close on this topic because we don't want to have this be the whole video.
Right.
Because we do have some other stuff to discuss, but I do find it interesting that I think Solo is because like Luke and I were talking about it. And we both are of the opinion that the anthology movies are definitely where it's at, and they're already going forward on the next film. I think they're talking about is doing Boba Fett, and then it looks like the next one after that is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fuck yes, but I think what they're also running into is perhaps there is also some franchise fatigue, but I'm concerned they're going to get the wrong answers from this because I think it's like 3 blockbuster movies back to back. I mean, they can't all be money makers, and
Well, I mean, it's like
I mean, like the studio.
this
practically
was still. I
set
mean,
this
it's like
thing up to
Solo was
fail.
still a pretty good movie. I mean, there was some
yeah.
parts where it's like, I think it's kind of that like that part of if you actually like maybe the next generation that gets to basically see 1 through 9 or 1 through 12 or whatever that they actually go up to.
Well,
and then all these other movies that go in with like say Rogue One, Solo in the actual order that they're actually supposed to be within the timeline or whatever timeline it actually is supposed to be.
Sure.
I think that would actually be potentially a better way to go because it's kind of that like the other channel that we work with Doc, Bros and Dragons. If I recall right, he was talking to either his wife or he was saying to his wife of like, I wonder if Solo and Chewie are going to get out of this. And it's like,
I don't know.
yeah.
Well, I actually kind of because like I'm not so sure we're going to see another Solo movie. Like it looks like they may have wanted to. I don't think we will.
Well,
But
I mean, I've heard that there was supposed to be a trilogy within Solo.
yeah. Well, the thing is if it hadn't been for the reshoots, they would have turned a profit. if they had just done Ron Howard from the beginning. But I think what they might do is they might turn Boba Fett into the sequel. Like he might be in the Boba Fett movie because they clearly knew each other. You know. Anyways, they were actually getting off the switch topics. Now, I ran across an interesting detail. I was listening to another. There's a channel that I sometimes listen to, and if I care about the topic, but it's the guy just offhandedly mentioned that when the Fox deal goes through with Disney, even if it fails, even if Comcast outbids them, because that's one of the things that's going on right now, Comcast is trying to outbid Disney, that even if that happens, Marvel still gets the characters back. He just said, oh, well, it's just the way it is. I'm like, what? When did this, like, why is nobody else talking about this? So I looked it up, and so here's what I was able to find out. It's like, one, nobody knows. For just flat out nobody knows, because only 2 companies know the contract, and they ain't sharing. But what the theory is that's being a lot of people are debating at the moment is the fact that there may a lot of contracts, because like Fox signed a contract with Marvel to get access to the characters, and they pretty much have them perpetually as long as they keep making movies, because some moron doesn't know how to write a contract, to their benefit. It should have been like 20 years or something, right? And so, but the idea is that the contract only persists as long as 20th Century Fox remains as a legal entity. And if the film division ceases to exist, right, depending on the language of the contract, if Disney buys them, who cares? But if Comcast gets it and it ceases to exist as a legal entity and becomes something else, the movie rights revert back to Disney. But the rights also may have a non-transferability clause anyways in the contract, because when they wrote the contract, they wouldn't have wanted to have Warner Brothers and DC end up with control of all the Marvel characters because of a corporate merger or a buyout, right? And so it's very likely that there is a clause in the contract that says that if Fox, if Fox is purchased or whatever, or there's a transfer of the contract, of contracts, those rights revert immediately back to Marvel. And that might be why they're so confidently proceeding the way they are, because like the word from on high is that like everything is on hold at Fox. Like I just found out today that the Doctor Doom movie they were making totally on hold, pending the outcome of the deal.
Oh, Doctor Doom?
Yeah, they were gonna do a Doctor Doom solo movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's like complete horseshit, but except it was.
So what about like the not titled X-Men movie that Jean Grey is?
Well, that movie's still coming out.
Okay, that movie's still coming out,
but they also but again they had to go back for reshoots to end it because there won't be any more of those movies. They went back to reshoots on New Mutants, and it got put off a year when it was supposed to be released in May, right? So what does that mean? I don't know, but like except for Deadpool, which is making money because apparently they were still going to get X-Force, and it's actually they said that X-Force and Deadpool are going to be wrapped into the MCU somehow, which is interesting because like Deadpool 1, it without question could have fit in the MCU with no problem. Like there was nothing in that movie that doesn't fit in the MCU, but that's the thing is regardless of the outcome of who gets it, it looks to me like Disney gets the characters no matter what, and everybody is proceeding in the industry is basically behaving as if that's what's happening, which is really interesting.
That's definitely interesting, and it definitely makes me think of like what's going to happen with the other properties of Sony and who else is it? Is it Universal or is it
Universal has She-Hulk? They have the Hulk, and they have the Submariner.
Oh, okay, and with the Hulk, obviously they're licensing it out that he can be within the Avengers.
Well, the deal is that as long as it's not a Hulk solo movie, Marvel can do whatever they want with the character. But the minute they do his Hulk solo movie, it's not that Universal has the rights to the character. They actually have no say in the making of the movie. What they have is they have distribution rights.
Oh, interesting.
So Disney has to share the money with Universal. And Universal's name goes on the distribution, so it doesn't get released as a Disney movie; it gets released as a Universal movie, and that's why there was never another one. Universal basically doesn't want to play ball with
Oh,
Disney.
okay.
So, which is a stupid because like the She-Hulk, definitely a bankable character. I think, but
Because I mean, it's like
yeah,
with Jennifer, the character's actual
Jennifer
name,
Walters.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Walters. I mean, she could be a very interesting
Oh yeah, no,
character. I mean,
I
it's
really
like
like her.
I,
She's one of
I
my top Marvel characters.
no, I can definitely see that, and it's like I agree with that statement of like her story, her lore, her like mythos of like what she is.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like one of those characters where almost like Wade Wilson of like can be very comical and very like you know kick down your teeth and like
well, to do movies with She-Hulk, somebody would have to commit to the body paint, and you'd have to pick an Amazon. You couldn't like you would literally need a 6 foot tall woman, probably 6 foot, like somebody, because like Gal Gadot is an excellent Wonder Woman, right? She's tall, but she's not Wonder Woman's height. It's like getting somebody as tall as Linda Carter to play Wonder Woman, and she wasn't really the greatest actress, but she was Wonder Woman. So it's like,
well,
but
I mean,
to find somebody,
she had a real iconic look. She
yeah,
had a really like
but to find somebody as big and tall as her that had the athleticism and the ability to carry the role, those don't grow on trees,
right.
And so it's like, what they did with Gal Gadot is they just picked the right actress for the part. And she has that exotic accent, so she, like you could believe that she's from Themyscira because she doesn't sound like an American, but like, and the fact that most like in the American audience, nobody can pick an Israeli accent out of a crowd, so it's like she's good. But the thing is that like with She-Hulk, you really need a 7 foot tall character to have it be She-Hulk, and so like. See, that's the thing is, or at least a 6'6". So it's like you basically have to get a female bodybuilder who's also an actor, which is kind of like where you're gonna get that, and you're probably gonna have to do like CG, like basically digitally like make her acting in green screen and blow her up.
Well, I mean, it's like the same thing as the Hulk, of here's Bruce Banner as the human that he is, and then a couple of beers and trailer park later of like yelling at the kids on your lawn, and I'm gonna get really angry.
But the thing is though is he is a CGI character. The Hulk has to be a CGI character. Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, is not.
I mean, I could almost see it almost both ways. I mean, it's like I practical effects don't trick your mind as bad, but like when it's like when it's good practical effects, it's like it's great, and it helps you within the storytelling. And it's like CGI, it's like
It would,
Mad Max Fury Road, like that's good CG.
well, it was all practical.
But I mean, there was some parts within like the canyons and such. I mean that's the point. It's like it wasn't so like, wow, I'm looking at a cartoon here.
Well, I went back and was watching some episodes of Stargate Atlantis recently because I picked up like a box set on sale of season 4, and solid, like excellent show by the way. But you're watching it, and the special effects are showing their age. Like they're good, they're just good enough to hold up, but you can still tell. That
no, I get you, and I mean special effects are always that level of dance magic dance, and it's like. And if you know that reference,
I do. Well, I think with She-Hulk, if they're going to do She-Hulk, have her in a movie, which I think is inevitable. You'd have to have probably a lot of scenes with short actors to make her seem taller, and then and then
not necessarily. I mean, it's like thinking about it. It's like Lord of the Rings. That was a really good part of having hobbitses that weren't actually hobbitses size.
Well, that was just a lot of movie magic. There was a lot of forced perspective, and like because
but I mean that's what could be done.
Yeah, and the sets are built to the scale of the hobbits are supposed to be.
Right.
Because like the scene where Gandalf and Frodo were sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah.
If you look at the behind the scenes, there's actually a massive split in the table for the forced perspective.
Yeah, but I mean it's like that's a way to do it with practical effects without.
Yeah.
But going on to, it's like, I do wonder, like, my whole point with this is, like, bringing up with the potential merger with whatever's going on with Fox
Yeah.
is what's it going to do for the rest of Marvel's potential
Yeah.
cinematic universe? Because it's
Well-
like Sony gave them the capability of having Spider-Man.
Oh my god!
And it's
this
like,
Sony movies.
yeah, well, that's a discussion unto itself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that'll be our next episode.
But I mean, it's like my point is, it's like the bleh. I cannot talk right at this moment.
Fantastic Four.
Apparently, it wasn't fantastic. That's why
Yeah,
I wasn't able
well,
to spit it out. But it's
I-
like, what's going on with that?
Well, I've heard a lot of people speculate that the Fantastic Four is because like the idea being that there was hope that Phase 4 of Marvel was going to be Phase 4, with the Fantastic Four logo, and that would have been amazing. But the deal, didn't go through in time. Like because from what I understand, they have an entire plan lined up for Phase 4 that's supposed to be more outer space cosmic stuff. But they're being very cagey on the movies. They've only released information on so many films going forward.
Well, it's actually probably a really smart tactic because there's they're taking a lot of lore and a lot of their information from like the various things, and it's kind of that level of getting people to speculate, or the fact of, what if they add something else in? They've already found like pieces where it's like, oh, okay, we weren't really going to do this, and now we're going to add this in because, oh my lord, these people just exploded and said like, we want this, we actually enjoyed this.
Well, we'll see with Phase 3, right?
Yeah.
We knew Phase 3 was supposed to have the Inhumans, right? And the Inhumans basically didn't happen, right?
They went to the television series, and then that.
Whatever. We're not. But it was the Inhumans got cut to make room for Spider-Man when they got the Spider-Man deal, and that movie was already in development, right? And they got cut. And when they got the Spider-Man deal, they also moved Captain Marvel. We'd have had Captain Marvel already, actually, if it hadn't been for the Spider-Man deal. And that also, because that shifted Black Panther to another position, and that bumped Captain Marvel completely from the schedule to a point where she's basically coming at the very end as part of Infinity War. And so, like, we know that they would shift gears. I think what's probably going to happen is that, they're probably waiting to see what happens with the deal, because they've already got a certain slate of movies in development, and we know that, we know that there are certain movies coming out next year, right? We got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out this year. We've also got and then next year we're going to have Captain Marvel and then Infinity War, right? And we know that as I understand it, Captain Marvel is doing the Secret Invasion storyline, which would be freaking badass if the entirety of Phase 4 is Secret Invasion. Ooh, but they're probably waiting because, like, here's the deal: if the deal goes through, they get Super Skrull, which changes everything, right?
Because isn't that
he's
the same way as
he's a Fantastic Four villain,
right? And I mean, isn't that the same problem of like, being able to actually get that character?
Right, but there's all these things that they can do with Skrulls and the X-Men. And like the X-Men had a really awesome storyline with the Skrulls one time, with these gigantic Skrulls that were all muscular, but Jim Lee's version of Skrulls. But the thing is that they may be planning to shift gears because like the plan was to do all cosmic. Well, that's Fantastic Four, right? So I think that the X-Men is a damaged brand. Unconditionally as a damaged brand. I think that X-Men's going to be bumped to Phase 5, and that we're probably waiting to see if the deal goes through to see if they can incorporate Fantastic Four into Phase 4. I think that's what's going to happen. But like they probably have the next 5 or 6 movies in development already, and then they're going to do the Eternals, by the way. Gods, Marvel's gods. That the planet Titan, which we saw in Avengers. In Thanos is one of the Eternals.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. Star Fox. Yes.
Yeah. And they've also got a super speed guy and stuff.
Yes. And the only reason why I know about that character is because of Drawfee.
The power of love.
Oh.
Anyways.
God, yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Anyways, last 2 things I want to discuss before we call the video.
Yes.
So today, the new Spider-Verse trailer dropped, and the Lego Movie trailer dropped. And I made you watch those. We're definitely going to go see Spider-Verse when it comes out. What do you think of the Spider-Verse trailer?
So it's like So there's two trailers. There's
Yes.
the one that's
Well,
been in theaters and on telly and whatnot,
yeah.
and then there's the one that dropped today, like you said. What?
I think the first Spider Verse trailer was just like pre-release footage,
Mm.
like a lot of what we have as first trailers, which is just, oh, we're gonna put some footage out, and it doesn't always get counted as a trailer by the studio. This was an actual honest to god trailer because the movie is done and is coming out. You know?
So now this is completely my opinion on this.
Yeah.
So, the impression that I get like when I watch this is it's kind of this interesting like mixed media kind of thing, and I do like it on that aspect. I like it where there's different kind of styles of things going on.
Yeah.
So the main CGI, in my opinion, looks almost like stop motion puppetry. Like the way that they move. There's something about it where it's like
Oh my
when they
goodness.
move, they almost it's not like motion tweens and being all practical, within their movements. It's the fact of like it looked like somebody was rigging puppets, and moving them like claymation almost.
Man, we're
And
gonna
then
have
you have these graphic elements of like when the superpowers, especially the Spidey sense, goes
Yeah.
off,
Oh, yeah.
where
Oh, yeah,
it's
with little squiggly lines.
neon,
Yeah.
very neon colors, and like when there's danger senses or there's any
Mm-hmm.
type of things where he does backflips or part of that kind of pow zam type thing. Also, there was a part where there's like the typography of it feels very much like stuff that works with like Peter Parker of like, okay, this is normal guy, and here's like the little tag that's above that person's head.
Well, I want to say, after hearing your comment on like just artistic styles, man, we're gonna have a talk when you finally see Batman Ninja.
Oh,
Yeah, because I've only seen about 3/4 of the movie of watching it today while I was drawing, and you have the Gotham City stuff, and then they travel. Actually, it turns out to be a time travel movie. I didn't know
Oh.
what the shtick was, but it's
No.
when they actually go back to feudal Japan for whatever freaking reason they go to feudal Japan, the art style completely changes where it's like a Japanese painting
oh,
through the whole thing.
oh,
It's-
that's interesting.
yeah, it's actually kind of neat, but it's like, wow, what kind of jarring change. But
Well,
well-
and I mean that's always a mixed thing. It's like in properties where it's like that becomes part of the staple, like say Fooly Cooly, which is an anime
Oh,
where
yeah.
it shifts
good
through
show.
multiple multiple various art styles. But
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do.
actually, that's a major part within
Yeah.
part of its thing. And then also like when during the 90s when Liquid Television was on MTV, when they still played music videos and various other stuff,
Puppy Bombed.
they had a series known as The Mask,
Mm-hmm.
and The Mask was created by Sam Keith, and he's very mixed media. And
You mean the
he's-
Max?
The Max.
You said
Mask.
Mask.
Blah, blah.
Well,
And so anyways, it's like
stay on topic.
stay on topic.
Yes.
Well, hey, you're
Yeah,
guilty of that.
I know, but we're running out of time for we're a little over budget on time now. So
Well, we'll drop down to 55 miles an hour and let
Okay.
this thing blow.
okay,
Um,
yeah.
so-
we have a puppy down here.
Yeah.
You just off
so,
camera.
but yeah, as Spider-Verse, it's like I am definitely looking forward to it. It's just like, as art-wise, it's like the way that it just comes across to me is like it's almost stop-motion animation.
Well,
And I do like it in some regards,
Yeah.
and it almost irritates me. And it's like that actually is why I like it.
Well, what's interesting about this movie, got a puppy down here,
Yeah.
is that like it. Okay, so Marvel gets Spider-Man. Spider-Man's like Sony recognized. Okay, well we damaged the brand. We mishandled it. Okay, Marvel can have the character. Sony will never get Spider-Man back. But like this is kind of like the consolation prize. We get Miles Morales, and Miles Morales is definitely a known popular character. I honestly, I'm kind of surprised Marvel didn't just go with Miles Morales from the beginning. But it's like they got
Yeah.
Spider-Man. They eventually can cash in Miles Morales later. Like if they start with Peter, you've got many years of stories ahead. But like they're doing Miles Morales animated film. I think it's a really smart move, and the movie looks amazing. And I think it's easier to get an animated film right than it is to get live action. So certainly, I have much more hope for this than Venom. If it weren't for the fact that we actually are doing movie reviews now, Venom can just go F itself.
Is it because of symbiote?
No, I honestly don't care about that, given the fact that I pretty much own that word myself in my own brand. But it's like, no, I don't care. It's just the fact that it's like, it's stupid. All it is a cash grab, and that is I know people like it, but that is the worst looking Venom I've ever seen. And you can pretty much tell from the trailers that it's like you're probably only gonna get Venom for like the last 15 minutes of the movie, because it's expensive to do that.
Yeah.
And Sony is kind of a failing movie company right now, and they're counting on this shit to save the film. It's like,
okay, we should probably switch gears to Lego.
So what did you think of the Lego movie when it first came out? Just, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was charming.
Yeah. It was one of those movies that I didn't watch in theater, and
me neither.
It was definitely a surprise when I definitely did watch it. It was like, I liked part of the original premise of like, these people. It almost reminds me of like a property that both of us really like is the Gamers by Zombie Orpheus Entertainment.
Hey, you got it right.
Yeah, I made sure to like really nail that in.
Well,
but so to go into it, like I like the fact of there's the real world and then there's the Lego world in the same regards of there's the real world and then there's role players that are playing a tabletop game, and these characters actually exist and do stuff.
Yeah.
And the Lego movie reminded me of that very much.
The universes somehow bleed together.
Yes, and that was actually the part that I really liked out of like the first Lego movie. And
I like that Emmett really was a living creature from that universe that somehow crossed over to our universe. Like the Lego figure had life. And it wasn't just the kids,
Right, and it's like that's that kind of level of, okay, when he jumps off the table, was it actually him, type thing, and that's that kind of level of like, when no one's watching, do these, is it Toy Story rules where it's like, boy, that Barbie doll is going to be doing some stuff.
I did not see the movie in theaters, right?
Yeah.
And I did not go see the Lego Batman movie. I didn't feel the need. I might catch it eventually. But it's just like, I really enjoyed the Lego movie. I thought it was really charming. It wasn't the case where I wish I'd seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
But I ended up buying it on digital download, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the film, and I've probably seen it twice now. And, very good movie. Now, I am looking forward to seeing this one, and I do want to see this one in theaters, because, the fact they've got Lego Mad Max figures in the movie, we're going to get those. Oh my God, that is so awesome.
No, and I get it. It's like
Lego figures,
and you definitely have nerdum about like Legos. It's like I do love Legos because of the creative level of it, but it's like
it was the best toy as a kid.
And you still have Legos.
Oh, yeah, I do. Of course I do.
And it's like and it's like if you love Legos or Minecraft, it's like, this is definitely the movie for you.
Every time we need a spaceship, I bust out the Legos and I build the ship out of Legos, and that's what goes in the comic series. So,
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of it. It's like, in one hand, I'm not a major movie buff, but at the same time, it's like there is that mixed baggage of like the experience of going to a movie theater where one of the Star Wars movies, watched in the theater, and one of the guys that was like in the row right in front of me had his cell phone out and was texting during part of it. So it's like, even though it was on a lower light setting, it kind of actually ruined part of the movie for me.
What does that have to do with the Lego movie?
I'm just saying of like, the experience of like, sometimes it's just the fact of like the other people around, like, the thing with Deadpool.
Yeah. So
like Deadpool 2, I had myself and the two buddies that I went with and to the entire theater.
You guys are all
Just
wow.
us.
Okay.
And granted, it was like, this is how movies should be.
So it's a $600 million movie, apparently.
Yeah. But it's like, my point is, it's like, there's times where it's like the outside environment like really can ruin part of like the movie experience. And it's like, when I watched the original movie, Lego movie, I enjoyed it because, it was like in my room, and was able to like load it up on computer and just like watch it and enjoy it, and it's like, oh, okay, this was really enjoyable. And,
that's the reaction I had.
And I mean, it's like, I don't have kids, so it's like, one of the things about like the Lego movie that I do worry about is like, going into some movies where it's like the children and parents screaming at the top of their lungs, and whatnot. And
we're at a point where we probably need to call the video. Right. So the question for you is, so you don't like to watch trailers. I made you watch these trailers, right? So I'm sold on. I've been sold on Spider-Verse for a while, but just like this, this is the first or second trailer you've seen of it.
This is the second.
So are you looking? Does that trailer make you want to watch the movie?
Well, it's like I already knew that I was going to watch the movie. It's like,
but isn't it enticement? Like,
I like the fact
selling
that
the movie.
Well, I like the fact that it didn't feel like it. Like here was a major plot point. It's like the only part that I really didn't like was the fact that they showed Gwen Stacy.
Yeah,
I would have actually been like, I would have expected it, but it's like, it would have been at the movie, being at the movie and going like, oh, cool, they brought her in.
Well,
opposed to, at least it didn't feel like, oh, okay, here's a plot point that would have been just like, oh my word, it's like, dude, I did not see that coming, and it's like I didn't see it in the preview, and that's what kills me is like,
Well, it had already been revealed that she was going to be in the movie.
I get it.
This is based on Spider-Verse, so,
right.
So the whole thing is,
and I never read Spider-Verse, so it's like, but it's like but it's like that's one of my biggest gripe is like seeing previews. Like it was.
So the answer is yes then.
Yeah, okay. It's yes.
Okay, so what about the Lego Movie 2? What do you think from just the first trailer we just saw?
I'll wait until you rent it.
I'm holding up my thing. Well, we are gonna have to go see it just for the movie. We're reviewing movies now, and that does fall into our category of the kind of movies that we would. Of course, I suppose I can take Tommy. I'm sure he'd want to see it, but
there we go.
Though I don't think he enjoyed the first one nearly as much. He was like completely disgusted with the theme song. I ended up getting his friend Jack to sing it, and he's like, "Shut up!" But I have an app that makes rotoscope animation, and I was doing to the kids, and Jack just immediately starts singing the song on there, and I'm like, his mom loved it, but it was just like Tommy's like, "Shut up!" I can't. So okay, well I'm probably more excited for the Lego figures than the movie, but I'm probably going to go see it. So I'm digging that. So okay, cool. Well, I think this is going to be our video. We've talked about stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you for definitely watching.
Oh yeah. So if you like our stuff, please share this video, like it, subscribe to our channel. Likes help a lot. And if you would like to support what we do, help us make more comic books and fun content like this, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/WoodyMakesComics, and help us continue the stories of these things back here. And see you in the next video.
Thank you for reviewing. Bye.